Hi there, Facebook land and LinkedIn land and YouTube world. I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim.
We're from A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woohoo! Yay!
All right.
Yeah. So, it's the end of January.
It is the end of January.
And what amazes me is how quickly this January has flown by. You're looking at me like I am
you're
insane. I am not insane.
This was a slow January because it's cold.
Nah, cold for some people, not for others.
No, I'm cold.
All
Hey,
right.
look.
We've got a guest today coming to us from out in sunny California. At least I hope it's sunny out there. We'll find out in just a second. But joining us today is somebody that Jim and I both know.
Mhm.
Amazingly enough, I know her from one group. He knows her from another group. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. But please, everybody, I want you to welcome one of our friends, excellent person to get in contact with if you need help with public relations, if you need help getting your message out there. Please help us welcome Jill Loveland. She's our buddy. She's our pal. Yay!
Hey!
Welcome.
So good to see you both. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Yes.
We are so glad you could join us. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a publicity expert, and as you can maybe tell from the back, I've written actually 4 books, including Guerrilla Publicity and The Profit of Kindness. I run interactive virtual publicity courses and an intentional kindness community. And I help people mostly in the area of publicity and speak and train all over the world.
Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you. Well, thank you once again for joining us. We're so glad that you could be on here. One of the ways that we know you is through the National Speakers Association.
Yes.
I know you go out and you speak to lots and lots of different groups. When you speak with them, a lot of times you're talking about some things that they can do to increase the publicity of either themselves as a brand or for some of the events that they're speaking at. What are some things that people could do if they don't have a huge budget, they don't have a whole lot of money, but they need to get the word out about themselves or about something that they're doing? What are 2 or 3 things that people could do to be able to do that?
Absolutely. So a couple things you can do that are key and essential. One is to find your message. And, this isn't like, here's what I do kind of message. This is what's the problem you solve out in the marketplace kind of message. So I definitely want to encourage all of you. That's really the first step. Get clear on your message. And if you think you're clear on your message, ask again, seek outside help, ask your friends. It's interesting. Often in my virtual publicity course, people will do breakouts because we do message first. I'm so passionate about this. And this one woman came back. She goes, I swear I've said this a million times. I thought people landed. They do hire me, but yet nobody understood what I was saying. That's a question for all of you. Do people actually understand what you're saying and what you do? And I think that's really an important piece that you actually, look at. And I encourage you, I'm big on systems, and I want you to look at what you're doing in your message every 30 days. That's a system. Yeah, because, things change, news changes, and you change.
Yeah.
So that's a key piece. And then make sure, especially as speakers and people in business, put your name in Google Alerts. And make sure that, if there is news, like I was featured on ABC Dallas TV, I couldn't find it except Google Alerts said, Jill Lublin on ABC TV Dallas the next day, putting together the whole edited piece versus what I saw, right? So Google Alerts for sure with your name. And additionally, one thing that whatever you offer, let's say you're a leadership coach, put the word leadership in there. So that's really helpful, and that will support you in actually getting more PR, because what happens is you will see who's writing about the subject that you're an expert in. And so that's quite helpful. And I really encourage you to do visibility building activities. That's what I like to call them, which is really your publicity. at least 1 hour every single week. Imagine this, you put in, 52 hours, excuse me. There's 52 weeks in a year, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
So let's say you put 52 hours in of focused visibility building activity time, and watch your reputation grow, your increase in who people know you and how people know you, right? And I think that's really a great key. So that visibility building will make a big difference. I want people to say, I've heard of you somewhere.
Yes.
That's what I want for all of you.
And then it's a matter of figuring out, how did they hear about me?
Right. Right.
I would imagine, once the word does start to get out about you and what you do, I would imagine that one of the things that you tell the people that you work with is you probably need to figure out where people are hearing about you most. Is that the
Well,
case?
I like to call it publicize your publicity. So you know what, to be honest, I'm not even concerned where people hear about you. It could be your Chamber of Commerce newsletter, which, by the
Yeah.
way, if you're a member of a Chamber of Commerce, you need to be writing an article, 500-word article, simple, and put it in your Chamber of Commerce newsletter. Like every 60 days is one of my other systems, at least every 60 days. I tried more, it was actually too much. So I'm going to recommend that. Have an article, where you're seen, and that's in your local networks as well as your national networks, as well as medium.com is a wonderful place to post articles. So at your fingertips, I want you to have a 500-word article ready to go all the time. And, you can get other people to write this for you on Fiverr and different other places. So don't sweat it if you don't think you're a writer. There's lots of ways around that. But I do think, honestly, the biggest thing, I'm not even concerned where they heard about you, because funny enough, people can't often remember. Like, I'll go, where'd you hear about me? And they're like,
Yeah.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they've heard of you somewhere.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's the power of publicity. It's I like to call it the 3 M's. Everybody likes M&Ms, and I like M and M, which is what publicity does for you, which is to magnetize, monetize, and multiply. Right? Because you're able to reach so many more people, just like we are right now. We're reaching so many more people than we could individually.
Yes. And that's part of the power of A, social media, and B, bringing people together. When you connect people together, like you said, you multiply what's going on with your publicity, because it's not just your followers that you're reaching, it's yours plus the other people. And so the more people that you can have involved, the better, because you're going to end up reaching more people. I know one of the people that we worked with, Shay Brown. One of the reasons why we got together with him to do some of his projects was because his tribe and our tribe are very similar in the values that they have, and what the expectations are, and what we can do for them. And so it made perfect sense for the three of us to work together and things.
Right. He's got a bigger tribe, so that that was to our benefit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think this is a time more than ever that we need that collaborative networking, right? And some people will be bigger than you, and some people smaller than you, and sometimes it's the right thing to, I like to call it, go first, right? Extend that kindness, extend that support for others. It always, as we know, comes back, maybe in another way.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
right.
It does.
Yep.
And you're right. When you start to collaborate, when you work together with others, you do something for them, they do something for you, you build something that's a whole lot bigger than what you could do on your own.
That's for sure. I mean, honestly, in my almost 30-year career now, that's really how I've managed to create a wonderful list and serve many, many more people, is through other people's lists and collaboration and connection. And, and I'm helping too, of course. So I think that that's a major important strategy right now for all of you to think about. Who do you know who can support your efforts to get the word out.
Yes.
You know, it could be as simple as them posting. It could be wonderful if they send out emails, you know, but I do think, like, I'll tell you a great one. I remember a gentleman who was, I think he was actually in my publicity course, and he owned a home health care agency. Well, my mom was being taken care of by a home health care agency. And I actually had a pretty good relationship with them. However, in the news in that week was the story of a man who was abused, all this kind of awful thing by his caregiver. And I remember speaking to the gentleman with the home health care agency, and I said, let's do a piece about 5 things to watch out for that indicate your loved ones are in trouble, right? And that was a great story that actually made it into many magazines and newspapers. It was a great follow-up story on radio and TV to this story that was nationwide and capturing everybody's attention, right? So this is what I like to call use everything you've got, right? In this case, it was my mom. It wasn't me as a publicity person, although I understood the power of publicity and the power of that story, and then using my story in that moment with his expertise.
Yes.
That combined together was a winning combination.
And like you said, you need to pay attention to some of the current events out there.
Absolutely.
You need to pay attention to what's going on in the news. And if you have your Google alert set up, it will literally come to you. And you'll be able to take advantage of that. And when you've got your 500-word article in your back pocket and you can combine that with what's going on out there in the world, more people are going to pay attention to what you have to say because it now becomes very relevant for them.
Yes. And you know what? Honestly, it's a simple look at your phone first thing, you know, in the morning. Just see what are the headlines. When you're out for a walk, if there's, you know, just see what are the headlines. What are people talking about? Listen, I read People magazine. Yes, I do. And I love it. Number one, it's relaxing. It's relaxing. Yes. But, you know, number two, it actually tells me what's important, what the headlines are, what people are talking about. You know, they have a kindness issue in November. They always have stories that make you smile, which do make me smile. And, you know, what it tells me is what's important in the culture. So that's why I think it's key for whatever culture you're in, keep up on the trends of what's going on in that area.
The trends can be your friend.
Yes, they can.
I love that.
So tell us a little bit more about some of the ways that you work with your customers to help them and to add value to them, because I know you have a whole lot to offer, Jill.
Well, thank you. Mostly what I do with people is I have a mastermind now, super excited about that, where I'm serving people at an ongoing level for a year. And most people start with me in what I call my publicity crash course. And that's an opportunity to get your publicity done because, listen, I had a PR firm for, I don't know, let's see, almost 8 years.
Wow.
And it was wonderful. And at that time, and that was 10 years ago, I charged people $5,000 a month. And by the way, I was the less expensive PR agency in town, right?
Wow.
You know, they worked with me for 6 months. That's $30,000. Now, most entrepreneurs don't have that kind of money, you know? And so I really asked my heart, what could I do to serve people more, to engage them, to have them connect and do what, you know, I knew that they could do by themselves or with a small team or with a virtual assistant. And so I created this virtual publicity course, and it's been wonderful. I've served, several thousand people at this point, and I love it, and it's fun, and we get it done in a day, and it's on Zoom, and everything's, you know, get it done in my world because I'm a practical kind of person, and I want people to have things that they can really use. And I want them to understand the PR game and how to get to yes, right? How to get the media to say yes. And there are lots of ways in, and there are lots of ways to do it right. And frankly, there are lots of ways to do it wrong. So I teach people how to be a terrier, not a bulldog.
Nice.
And, you know, just make publicity easy and doable. So that's mostly the way I serve people.
What are some of the worst publicity, uh,
Mistakes?
yes, that you have seen out there?
Oh gosh. And by the way, if I may, can I tell them the website where they can find out about that?
Sure,
Absolutely.
please do.
Wonderful. It's publicitycrashcourse.com. And then look at the code at the bottom because you've seen this show. You'll get it for a wonderful discount.
Yay.
Yay.
Adding value to our people already. Thank you so much.
Yes. Very nice.
That in addition to everything you've already told them. So yes, we know people will appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But yes, what are some of the biggest mistakes you have seen out there?
A couple things. One is not getting reporters, producers, the people in the media, what they need on time and fast.
Yes.
Okay. Because you know what? They're moving on.
Yeah.
So I had a gentleman, he actually owned a franchise company, and he's out of Canada, and the Canadian version of like Good Morning Canada, Good Morning America, had called him and said, like literally day before, because they're often very to the last minute. I mean, some things are really planned and some things aren't. And there was a breaking news story. They found him. He was actually training some of his franchisers. It was 9 a.m. He said, I thank you so much. Yes, I'd love to. And I'm actually on a training call. Can I call you at 10? Well, by 10, they'd given the slot away.
Right.
So, that was a huge PR opportunity he had that went, frankly, down the drain.
Yep.
So one of the things, not only respond quickly, but say yes.
Yes.
So that's the other mistake I've seen people make is they, for whatever odd reason, say no or don't feel prepared or are scared. And so they say no. And I'm shocked at that, frankly, because there's always a way it's called bridging, to bridge your topic with what the media wants to know. So even if it doesn't seem obvious that in that moment, you're the right one, there's a reason they're calling. And
yes,
there's a woman from that I worked with, and she got called by NBC Nightly News. Now that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
She's a cook, she's a speaker, and what she does is trains teams in leadership with cooking, right? And now she's doing it online and on Zoom. So that's super great. Well, NBC Nightly News found her because they thought she could do a segment on aphrodisiac cooking.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Now I have to tell you, in her mind, she's like, what are you talking about? And I remember she called me in a panic. She said, Jill, oh my gosh, I don't know what aphrodisiac cooking is. I don't know how to spell it. And I don't have a recipe for it, but I've been trained by you and I knew to say yes. And in the moment that I was going to speak no to that producer, I heard your voice in the back of my head. She points it back. And all I could hear was just say yes, just say yes, just say yes. And she did. She got a 4-minute segment on NBC Nightly News.
Wow.
Do you know, we actually price that out because how you measure publicity is if you had to pay for it in advertising.
Right.
If she had to pay for that in advertising, it would have been $720,000.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Isn't she glad she said yes?
Yes.
And, picture this, right? Every time she goes to a prospective client saying, I've been featured on NBC Nightly News, it doesn't matter exactly what you've been featured in. It still relates to her cooking. And it's opened many a door for her, not only to, have more PR, because once you get PR, the great news is you do what's called publicize your publicity. And she got more and more and more and was, always well thought of. And that increased and escalated her, her respect and her credibility and her visibility. And frankly, more prospects and clients saying yes to her.
Awesome.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
living on the other side of yes.
That's what we do. It gets us in trouble every once in a while.
Good trouble, I'm sure.
Yes. But it does get your name out
But
there.
it gets your name out there.
And it forces you to get outside of your comfort zone, and it forces you to stretch and grow. And as a result, you end up serving your customers even better than you thought you could because you're growing in the process and you're helping them grow too. So
absolutely,
it's a great opportunity to just say yes when those opportunities, when somebody asks you to do something,
you say yes.
You say yes.
And then figure it out.
Yes.
You got it.
And then call your buddy Jill and say, how do I do
How do I do
this?
this?
Exactly.
Awesome. Jill, thanks you so much for joining us today on our Motivational Monday show. You have given us and all of our viewers here a ton of gold nuggets
Absolutely.
that they can
Yes.
use to help promote themselves, promote their organizations,
Mhm.
promote some of the events that they're doing. Once again, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way for them to do that, Jill?
Well, I also have come with a free gift for all of you, and this will be a great way to connect with me. It's publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift.
Awesome.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and make sure, by the way, to go to step 2. It'll take a second, and join me for an interactive free publicity masterclass. So that's a great way to connect with me.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah.
And I know when you come and you talk to our NSA group, you were at NSA Pittsburgh not too long ago. And even when I see you in our Polka Dot Powerhouse meetings, and you talk about some of the things that you do there, always walk away with so much information. You truly have a lot of value to add to people. So thank you so much, Jill. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with both of you.
We're glad
We're
that
glad you're
could.
here.
And for those of you who are out there, we've got a cool event coming up a week from Friday.
Yes, we do.
It'll
Is it
be
that
here
soon?
before.
I guess so.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
On Friday, February 11th.
Yes.
We've got our Live to Lead event, and this time it's not just face to face.
Yes.
It's online.
It's online.
So-
So you can do
so-
either one.
So somebody like Jill, who's out there in California, really can
Yes. She can join us.
attend.
Yes.
Live to Lead with us, and there's so many good speakers.
Yes.
You got John Maxwell, Jamie Kern Lima, Valerie Burton, Jeff Henderson, Ed Milet. We'll be leading discussions and reflection questions, and you'll be able to walk away from there ready to apply what you learned that day, because you're going to have a plan with you, and you're going to have opportunities to network with people from, if you're in person with the people here in our community, if you're online, you're going to be in Zoom breakout rooms, and you're going to get an opportunity to network and connect with people from all across the country, if not around the world.
Yes, you will. Yeah.
So go to our website, ateagueofyourown.com, click on the Live to Lead tab, and you'll get more information. You can register there. So we're looking forward to that.
Yep.
Yay. All right, everybody. Thank you once again, Jill. We're so glad that you could be on with us this morning. I know it's an early morning for you being out there on the West Coast, but we appreciate you being here with us. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you here next week, and have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.